Hello, it's Ron back from Ron's YouTube channel. We cover many things, including a lot of drone gear and discussions of new drones. So today's going to be a drone video, and it's going to be another episode of Ron Talk. Whatever that's a clever name on my part, huh? Ron Talk. So let's get right into it today. Wednesday. May 11th, and we're kind of recovering from all the excitement yesterday with the release of the DJI Mini 3 Pro drone. It appeared on DJI's website about 9 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time yesterday, and actually we were doing a live show at about 8:52 is when I first saw it go up on the site for sale. And if you didn't order quickly, you may not got what you wanted. It came out, and everything was almost just as we suspected. The prices were real close. So just real quick, this isn't a story about the thing I'm going to get into. The basis of this Ron Talk a minute here, but they had 3 configurations of drone, and 2 of them sold out almost immediately. The one with just the drone, and the one with the standard controller, and then the Fly More packages, they sold out almost instantly too. So probably if you didn't get there until 9 o'clock, Eastern Standard Daylight Savings Time, you may not got much of anything except if you wanted the drone and the one with the DJI RC, the one with the screen in. But anyhow, it's going to be a lot of talk about the ordering and the back ordering and whatever, but that's for another episode. Today I want to talk about some of the Mini 3 disappointments. I knew we're all kind of, flying high. Everybody's riding this wave of excitement, with all the features and specs and promise of this mini drone. Basically, this isn't your father's mini drone anymore. The mini drones in the past all were kind of like, they were not feature rich, the opposite of feature rich. They didn't have all the goodies that the Pro drones had, like the Mavic 2 Pro and even the Mavic Air 2S and some of the more advanced drones. You basically got a simple set of features on it. Of course, that you got that at a much more affordable price. So here we go. We got a much more full feature Mini at a much higher price. And again, it's a lot of good stuff in here. It's been covered many times on many shows, many channels. But let's get into a few of the disappointments we learned about yesterday with the Mini 3. And I even got my cheat sheet going here today. So the first thing, this was a much highly asked question on almost all the forums, the web channels, the Facebook groups is, will the new DJI RC, that you could order with the Mini 3, the one with the screen, will it have 1,000 nits just like the RC Pro, or will it have less? Well, according to some of the big channels that got the drone early and put their reviews up yesterday, Billy Kyle, Potato Jet, iPhone NATO, I believe the same name, right? They all said it has 700 nits. So we don't see that on the spec sheet anywhere because of DJI's website. You will not find that in the specs, but they all said it had 700 nits. So anybody was hoping for the same 1,000 nits as the RC Pro. It looks like that's not to be. Now, nobody has complained about it not being bright enough from the early reviews. So I did order the DJI RC. When the drone shows up, I will have that controller, and I have the RC Pro, so I will kind of do some testing side by side in the same lighting conditions to tell you, is it still very usable? Is it close to the RC Pro? I will give you my impressions of how it compares in real world and not just on a spec sheet. So, okay, that's kind of disappointment number one, because a lot of people are hoping for the 1,000 nits. But remember, this was a much budget price compared to the RC Pro, because if you bought the standard Mini 3, sorry to keep pointing or whatever, you bought the standard Mini 3 with the standard controller, that was $759. And if you got the Mini 3 Pro with the DJI RC, it was $909. For just about a $150 increase, you got this smart controller versus a standard controller, which that's a great deal in anybody's book, even if it is $700, 700 nits or whatever. So anyhow, Okay, moving on from that, another small disappointment here. There was no power plug included in any of the drones. So by what that means is, usually you have like a, if you got the hub, the charging hub, there's usually, you plug a USB-C into the back of the hub and you plug the thing into your outlet, whatever. Well, we got no plug with this one. So, you could order a plug initially. I believe it was 18 watt charging plug, but that was sold out when I ordered my drone at almost, within the first minute or two of being up for sale. So, a lot of people have these type of charging plugs at home, so it's not like you have to have the exact one, for DJI. Apple has done the same thing, and Samsung on their high-end phones, they're now shipping them without plugs. You can buy, third-party plugs, to fit the wattage, and even fast charging plugs for the phone. So this is, I know people are going to have an issue with it. I always see a lot of people, with complaints and pushback on it, and I understand that you're allowed to complain as much as you want on the internet, but I think this is the wave of the future. DJI did not start this trend, but they are jumping on the bandwagon. Some people are saying it's because everybody keeps upgrading their devices, and they have all these chargers, and the chargers wind up getting thrown out, or people have a whole drawer for chargers, and eventually they get thrown out. Kind of a green thing here. I don't know. That's just a spin or whatever. But anyhow, no charger in the box. So if you've never owned a drone before, and I don't know, you don't have a modern cell phone, maybe you need to invest in a charger. And believe me, this plug was like $15, I believe, $15 to $20. So it's not a great cost. So if you don't have something like that, it's going to cost you an extra $15 to $20. But most likely, if you have a lot of other recent tech gear, you can use a power plug you already have. So okay, and that was number two, the kind of disappointment. Then number three, here's another thing: these constant posts in the forums, Facebook groups, YouTube comments, and whatever. People wanted to ask two things: will the DJI RC the DJI RC, I think I'm saying these names right, the controller that comes with the Mini 3 with a screen, will it work with any other drone outside of the Mini 3? And the answer is no. Billy, Potato Jet, every video I watched confirmed that that controller, the new controller with the screen, will only work with the new Mini 3 Pro, nothing else at this time. That's not to say that if you remember, I filmed this video on 5/11, so if you watch this video a month from now, maybe a firmware update has changed that or fixed that. But as the 11th, and as a launch date on 10th, it did not work with any of the drones. So I know that will be a disappointment to many people, because that was one of the most requested questions, about this new controller. Would it work with other DJI drones? So that's a no. All right, and now we're moving on to the another second most requested question, I think, was, will the Mini 3 Pro will it work with the DJI RC Pro that came out at the same time as the Mavic 3 with the the built-in screen and blah blah blah? And unfortunately, this time the Mini 3 will not work with the DJI RC Pro. Again, that's not to say if you watch this video a month from now or 2 months from now that it won't be working with the RC Pro, but at launch, it did not work with the RC Pro. So I know, again, going to be a disappointment to a lot of people, because they're going to say, hey, I spent $12.99 for that, that RC Pro back at the end of last year. I expected to work with, future DJI drones going forward. Why have a smart controller if it doesn't work with all your products? And I feel your pain, as they used to say back in the day, that it won't work with the Mini 3. But hopefully they'll fix that in a future firmware update. But there's no guarantee that it will ever work with the RC Pro. But, hopefully it will. So, that's another disappointment there. So sorry to keep delivering the bad news, but it was, I'm not being negative Nancy on this. I mean, I really, I I ordered the drone. I think it's going to be, you know, a good product or whatever. I'm not going to pre-review anything. You know, I won't make any prejudgments. So I actually have it in my hands. But, you know, I'm looking forward to getting product in. I just want to point some of the things out because these questions, you know, in a lot of the shows and groups I'm involved in, I constantly saw these questions. So I just want to get this out there just to kind of clarify things. Okay, here's so this isn't anything anybody asked pre-release, but I saw this in the videos I've watched so far. Apparently, it doesn't have a fan in it to cool it down. And I know a couple people mentioned that if you let it sit too long on the table or the landing pad or whatever and don't take off, it'll really get warm. So once you boot this thing up, it seems to, you know, be wise to get it right up in the air because the air won't cool when it's flying around. It just will overheat if it sits too long on the ground. Again, it has no internal fans in it. And this could be a pre-release issue. I'm getting this from the reviewers. I've had it for a couple weeks, a month now. Maybe when consumers get it, they'll put a final firmware update out that will, you know, kind of, you know, take care of these heating issues a little bit. So I'm sure they're getting feedback from the people that had a pre-release that it has this issue. So hopefully that can be corrected sooner or later through firmware updates to kind of cool the thing down a little bit while it sits on the ground. So we'll just something to watch going forward here. So it's not officially out yet. It's not a real problem until it's officially out in the hands of the real users. Okay, this is the first mini drone to have the 4K 60 video that everybody kind of has, you know, kind of begged for years, and almost all consumer drones, you know, going all the way back to the Mavic 2 Pro, you know, the original Mavic 2 Pro that didn't have the 60 frames per second. Everybody wants 4K 60. So this drone actually has the first mini drone to have it. But, you know, the disappointment here is it won't work you know, with any of the tracking features, any of the, you know, active track, spotlight, you know, all that stuff like that. What's that whole suite of things called? Everybody says active track, but there's another name for this suite of you know, of tracking things. It won't work above 4K 30. All those tracking features. Same thing with the HDR features. This is HDR video and photos. And specifically, I'm talking about the video here. The HDR video, it only goes up to it works in 4K 24, 4K 25, and 4K 30. It will not work in anything higher than that. So, you know, take it for what it is here. You know, and this is from the reviewers, and they're still on, you know, using a kind of a beta version the firmware, so hopefully that could be corrected, maybe even by the final release firmware that comes with the, you know, the first round of drones that are delivered. We don't know when that is, so but for right now it does not have 4K 60 for those advanced features and for the HDR video. Okay, and one last note too. We know one of the kind of flagship features the Mini 3 Pro is the vertical video. The whole camera turns from landscape to vertical and allows you to shoot, you know, TikTok, Instagram style, you know, kind of 9:16 video, and it's a great thing. And you know, since it turns the camera, it's not a crop. It's, you know, you get the full frame, but none of the advanced tracking features will work, you know, in that mode. So you will not be able to track. Again, I'm sorry I can't name that I can never come up with the name of that feature, but it has three different things. Tracking's one of them, follow, and point of interest. I think I got it all. None of those things will work with a vertical video at this point in the firmware. Again, it's my same thing. We haven't got the final firmware update yet. Hopefully that's added at some point before the consumers get the drone, but as right now it's not in there. So okay. That's about it for my disappointments. I've kind of, you know, ruined everybody's day already so far. So, yeah, you know, some of these things, you know, DJI has, you know, kind of disappointed us in the past, especially with the original smart controller. It took them a long time to get a lot of the drones kind of even in the air when that came out 2 years ago or better at this point on that controller. So hopefully they'll get all these new drones on the DJI RC Pro They did get the Air 2S on it already, along with the Mavic 3, and hopefully this new controller that comes with the Air 3, and again, these names are so confusing here. The DJI RC, hopefully that will work with some other drone at some point, or maybe drones going forward. Hopefully it's not just made for the the Mini 3. I mean, maybe there's a technical reason why it's only made for the Mini 3, but I don't know why, because almost all the current DJI drones run the same app, the Fly app, and so it shouldn't be an app issue. So I don't really know, but again, I hate to be the bearer of bad news on a lot of that stuff, but that's just the way it is, and so don't buy these controllers with any expectation that they're going to work with other drones at this point. Again, it could come in the future, but don't make your buying decision based on that it's absolutely going to work with other drones in the future. Just hold off and wait until that actually happens. So, okay, that's about it. I'm going to kind of keep it short today. I don't want to go on and on here. So, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to subscribe and to my channel. Like the video, hit the thumbs up button. Helps the channel out a lot. If I have any links and you're gonna put some links in, try to if you can use my links, kind of help the channel, help me get more new products in for review, more accessories for the Mini 3. Again, I'm gonna, when I get the Mini 3, and I'm gonna make a whole series of videos on the course. I'm gonna try to get some of the accessories in here for review also. So again, all this stuff you're doing, you can help me pay for some of these accessories I want to review. The extra batteries, the extended life batteries. I want to try out the wide angle lens. I want to try out the ND filters. I just kind of want to immerse myself in everything Mini 3 and see if it's really a good value out there, as opposed to some of the other drones like the Air 2S, which of course is not that much more money than the Mini 3, and still may be the drone to get over the Mini 3. So okay, folks, we will see you on the next video. Boom.